All right, so welcome to today's lesson on the importance of beginning with the end in mind. This guiding principle will be a driving force in moving things forward in your business and even in your life. It's something that you'll probably find yourself coming back to again and again. It's a guiding principle that ensures that every action you take serves a purpose and moves you closer to your goals in life and in business, right? It ensures that you move yourself forward in a way that's congruent with your vision and values. So let's dive in. Beginning with the end in mind means having a clear understanding of your desired result. It's about asking yourself, what is it that I'm trying to make happen here? What do I want to make happen? What's the end result that I want? It seems so obvious, right? But ironically, the most obvious things to do are typically the most often overlooked. We do things without the end in mind all the time without realizing it. We do things like snap at someone because we're trying to get them to respect us, right? Without thinking about whether snapping at them is actually going to get us that result. You know, we do things like make post after post after post on social media without asking ourselves, okay, well, how do I want people to feel when they see this? What's the next step that I want people to take? Have I made that next step clear and compelling? Have I made it easy for them to take that step? Have I built enough of a relationship with them to want to take that step? What results do I want posting to be producing for me? So beginning with the end in mind is really about thinking about it from all these different angles, right? For me, when I practice this, it's like I take the result in my mind and it's like it's a little Rubik's Cube that I'm spinning around from all these different angles to look at what clicks and to see all these different perspectives on it. I'll give you another simple and practical example of how to apply this principle, beginning with the end in mind. Let's say you're planning to run a webinar to promote your coaching services. You spent hours, and I mean hours, crafting the presentation and designing these eye-catching slides. But have you thought about the goal of your webinar? You'd be surprised how many people the answer is no, right? Beginning with the end in mind means asking yourself essential questions like, what is the purpose of this webinar? What are my expectations going into this webinar in terms of what I want to get out of it? What expectations might the participants have? What action do I want my viewers to take afterwards? Have I set them up for that? What do they need to hear from me in order to feel compelled to take that next step? It's about thinking about what it is that we're doing all the way through, what it is that we're working towards. So you can really see how useful it can be to apply this guiding principle, both in life and in business. The reality is we get so caught up with whatever is happening in the moment a lot of the time that more often than not, we end up doing for the sake of doing. We do things to check off boxes, to get a sense of completion. We do things because maybe someone told us to do it, right? We do things because we're in a reactive mode, not a creative one, not a thoughtful one. So we do a lot without thinking, without the end in mind. The effect of this is that most people make decisions from the life that they have rather than the life that they want to create. They take action and make decisions on autopilot without plugging in any GPS coordinates, right? And then they wonder why they don't end up where they want to be. Now, when I say begin with the end in mind, it's not just about the result that you want, right? Out of what it is that you're doing. It's also about how you created the result. Let's say that you have a goal to lose 10 pounds, and then you have another person who also has the goal to lose 10 pounds. It's important for you that you recognize that it's actually not the same goal. I know it's like, it sounds like the same goal to me. It's not the same goal. One person might want to achieve that goal so that they can think about food as little as possible, so that they can achieve maybe a sense of what we might call food freedom, right? Maybe a sense of self-acceptance in that process, that they get to a place where they can finally accept themselves. And maybe the other one wants to become a bodybuilder and track their macros and understand all the nuances of food so much more and feel more empowered. So we get very quickly that is not the same goal at all. It may sound like the same goal, but it's not the same goal, right? And that's important to know because your goal determines your process. We get that those two people are going to take very different sets of actions to reach their goals. Now, there might be some overlap, right? But there's going to be some differences. And if they get fixated on losing 10 pounds and don't begin with the end in mind, they might engage in a process that gets them the weight loss, but doesn't get them the result of self-acceptance or empowerment. And is that really the result that they're after? No, right? So when we set a goal, what we're really committing ourselves to is a process. And I think it's helpful to see it that way because, in a way, I would even say that processes are more important than results, in a way, because processes transcend results. Results are temporary milestones, right? You achieve a goal, then you're on to the next. But processes drive us to the next goal and the one after that. Our mental processes, our emotional processing, our skills that we develop, our habits, our strategies, our systems, all of the things we develop on the way to our goal, all the wisdom, all the experience, all of that becomes transferable to our future goals. But if your goal is to lose 10 pounds and you're like, let me just chop off an arm, right? It's like, we get that we skip over all of that process. And is where you arrive really where you intended, right? We hear it all the time. It's about the journey, not the destination. And I would rephrase that as it's about the journey and the destinations because the destinations inspire the process. Without destinations, there's no sense of progress or self-discovery. So beginning with the end in mind is about setting a clear intention with regards to the results that you want to create and the story you want to be able to tell about how you created them, and then working backwards from there, right? It's about reverse engineering the results that you want to create into processes and actions that you can implement now. And it's empowering to go about it this way because the reality is most people don't pursue their goals from the place of their goals being achieved. If you're familiar with the tool of the self-coaching model, basically they write out their model every time CTFAR, circumstance, thought, feeling, action, result. What we want to do is reverse engineer the model and write it out RAFTC. So with the result line at the top there, right? We want to start from the place of the result being achieved. If you're not familiar with the self-coaching model, don't worry about it. There is a link beneath this video to that training. So if it all sounds like algebra, don't worry. It will make it make sense in another video. But basically, the point that you'll get regardless, right, that I'm making here is that most people make the fact that they don't currently have the goal, that they haven't achieved their goal, mean that they won't achieve their goal. They make it mean that at some point along their journey to the goal. So let's say they have 0 clients in their coaching business right now, and maybe they take a whole bunch of action because they want to achieve that goal, but it doesn't pan out. It doesn't result in clients. And then they make it mean that they're, the fact that they currently have 0 clients means that they will continue to have 0 clients into the eternity of their coaching business. I've seen this happen over and over again. Our brains have a basic need for certainty. So where does it look for certainty? Circumstances, because circumstances are certain, right? So our brains often use our current circumstances to predict our future circumstances. We do this unconsciously and automatically all the time. We want to know what the future holds for us because it makes us feel safe on some level. So we make a prediction based on where we currently are instead of make a decision based on where we're committed to being. When we get that, on some level we get that if we looked out a window, let's say, right? Like, it's raining. I guess it will rain for the rest of my life, right? We get that doesn't make sense. So we do that all the time with so much other stuff in our lives, right? Like the example of making 0 clients right now mean that you will continue to have 0 clients. When we begin with the end in mind, we don't let ourselves be deterred by our current circumstances. It's as good as done that we get there. So When we're not there yet, it's not a problem. It's like, that's interesting. I took a bunch of actions and it didn't pan out to creating clients. I guess that's part of the process. And then we orient towards solutions, right? We problem solve from our goal being achieved, which is much more strategic and creative than trying to problem solve from our goal not being achieved, which is much more reactive and dramatic, right? It's a lot more scarcity driven. I know that this is a little meta, but if you get it, I know it will really click for you. So let's break down why beginning with the end in mind is crucial. Firstly, it provides clarity and focus. When you know exactly what you want to achieve, every action becomes intentional and purposeful. You're not working in a way that's brute force and linear. You're not just working harder, you're working smarter. Secondly, it ensures alignment with your overall business objectives and values. By starting with the end in mind, you can ensure that every activity contributes to your long-term success, not just measured in terms of results like money and clients, but measured in congruence with your values and your ethics. That's why you'll hear me repeat things like, the way you make your money matters. And then lastly, beginning with the end in mind maximizes your results and effectiveness. When you have a clear end goal, you can tailor your actions to achieve that goal more efficiently and effectively. It allows you to evaluate more strategically. So remember, success is not just about staying busy. It's about being intentional with your actions and making meaningful progress towards your goals. Progress that is also congruent with your values and the story you want to be able to tell about how you achieved success in your business. If you're playing a 30-day game right now, I want you to take time to go to the place of the result of 5K being achieved in 30 days in your coaching business. Go there in your mind. Remember, your goal creates your process, and there's an element of your process that's always going to be creative and unique to you. It's like the body, there's bioindividuality, right? It's like that weight loss example. So go there in your mind. What does it change for you to have that result? What does it change for the clients you created? What's the story you want to be able to look back on? Begin with the end in mind. Look at that result from all angles. Just get present to it. And if you haven't joined the 30-day games yet, you can join the game anytime with the link beneath this video. So my invitation to you is to begin with begin with the mind also. Begin with the end in mind in everything that you do. Set clear intentions, define your desired outcomes, and take purposeful action. If this video helped you out in any way, make sure that you smash that like button or give it a little boop and click on the screen right now to watch another video just like this one with more tips and strategies to level up your life coaching business. Or join my free 30-day course with the link below this video. I'll see you in the next one.